Hey, everybody, you know what time it is. You know what day it is. It's Wednesday night, 8 p.m. It's the Relationship Gumbo Podcast Live Edition. We have another amazing topic tonight and another amazing guest. This one's going to be fun, y'all. So make sure you share, invite, tell your friend, tell your grandma. Everybody need to hear this one. And if it's not you, we're going to talk about somebody you know. So you might want to go ahead and get this out. What I normally do at this point of the show is I like to make sure everything is going where it needs to go. We are live on YouTube. So give me about 30 seconds. I'll be right back and we're going to get started. So stand by.
Okay, everybody wants good love. That's true, I know. Derek Jones about to break it down with the Relationship Gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy. Cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derek Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship Gumbo, ayy.
All right, we are back. And like I said, tonight, we're talking about your dating skills and your dating muscles. And are they still strong enough? Have you been out of the game for a long time? We're gonna talk about a lot. So make sure that you share and invite this with everybody you know. Make sure that if you're on YouTube, because that's the only place we are, make sure you subscribe and click that bell because we going live every single week for the rest of whenever. As long as I'm breathing, we going to go live every Wednesday. So make sure you get these notifications. And also follow me on Instagram. We do a lot of lives on Instagram, just pop-up live. So make sure you get those pop-ups too. That's also at the relationshipgumbo.info website. Now, if you're here for the first time, this is also an audio podcast. So the audio from this will go up to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Alexa, Pandora, iHeartRadio, like basically wherever you can get it from, I'm there. So make sure you tap into that, subscribe and follow those things under Relationship Gumbo Podcast, and you can listen to it in your car, on your headphones, all that good stuff. So what I normally do, because it's an audio podcast, is I will pause for 3 seconds, start the podcast, and then pause for another 3 seconds so I can chop it off so y'all will have the perfect audio to listen to in your car, so you can listen to the replay over and over and over and over again. Some of y'all gonna need to listen to it 5 times. You're gonna see why in a minute. So stand by, let me get that going, and here we go. Welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones, and I'm your host. I'm a certified life coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. And tonight, we have a super special guest. As I adjust my microphone here, because I realized it wasn't close enough. So tonight's topic, we're talking about, the topic is, have your dating muscles gotten weak? And I'm going to describe what I mean by that very shortly. But first, I'm going to introduce my guest. So I'm going to put her on screen, then I'm going to talk about her for a minute, and then we're going to let her introduce herself. So hold on 1 second here. I'm going to say welcome to the show, but give me a second because I need to give them some context. So Tashura from Tashura Talks, I do these pop-up IG lives all the time. Make sure you follow me on IG, relationship_gumbo. And Tashura, I don't even know how you got to me, routed to me, whatever. I don't even know how it happened, but Tashura started coming on the show a lot, coming up and talking with me, and we've been having a ball ever since. And she's an amazing person. She's fun. She's funny. Y'all gonna see tonight. I just like her flow. I like the way she thinks. And some of this stuff she may be able to relate to. You never know. We're gonna find out tonight. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Tashura Lamar, my special guest. I want you to tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do, and then we're gonna get right into this.
Hello, everyone. I am Tashura from Tashura Talks. That is a podcast I started about a year ago that I haven't really gotten up off the ground until this year. What I do, I'm an entrepreneur. That's what I do. And I talk my ish. So, yeah, how we got connected, I'm not sure. I think maybe I saw you with Erica from Dope Discussions. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Your name interested me, Relationship Gumbo. I'm always talking about relationships or lack thereof. But anyway, go ahead.
So I'm going to give a little bit of context about the topic. We're talking about dating muscles getting weak, right? So a lot of times people will have different things happen to them in relationships that will make them take themselves off the market for a long time. And being out here in the dating game, knowing the current climate of what's going on, understanding how to maneuver things, when you stay out of the game, it's a muscle that you have to kind of continuously work, right? Not every day, not every week, but you don't want to wait 15 years because when the time comes for you to go back out there, it's a scary place because you don't even remember how to date. Are they dating the same way they used to back in the 90s? Are they what's going on? You have to actively be out there so that when the time comes and that magical person falls from the sky, you gotta catch them and be like, hey, I'm ready for you. I already know how to communicate and do all of these things, right? So my question to you, Tashura, is it's funny because I know the answers to this. What do you think about, and you can talk about your own personal experience too. What do you think about people who take themselves off the market for like a decade or 5 years straight and they just stop meeting, stop communicating and all of that? So I want you to do this in two parts. I want you to talk to me about how you feel about it or what you think about it. And then I want you to get into a couple of why you think people do it.
I'm defended right now because you actually talking about me. So, I mean, I can tell you why I did it, okay? I did it for the reasons that most people do it. We have that bad experience and we decide, oh, I'm not ready. It's like fear. And then we go into what's been my excuse and safe place for the last 13 years of singleness is I need to work on me. I'm healing. I got some things that I need to heal because it's like I kept meeting the same type of people. So I'm like, oh, well, it's me. And I need to just focus on me. And I need to get my ish together. You know how you hear from so many experts, well, if you don't have this, you don't need to date. If you don't do this, you don't need to date. If you didn't, then I'm like, oh, that's me. So I don't need to date. So I'm not going to date. But it's just fear.
Yeah.
When it boils down to it, it's fear that keeps allowing us to pull ourselves off of the market. And then what I find is that doesn't help.
Yeah, it's fear, trauma. These things make you feel like all hope is lost. You go out there too soon, your picker probably still doing the same picking, and you're gonna run into the same type, and then it really doubles down on your fear now because you're like, yeah, see, I told myself they wasn't like I tried to go back out there. And so to your point of people saying if you don't have this, you're not ready to date. If you don't have this, you're not ready to date, right? I will always be an advocate for working on yourself. But then there also exists a population of people that use working on themselves as a reason not to go back out there. And so you stifle yourself for years and years under the guise of healing yourself. When in real life, a lot of us, most of us don't even know how to heal ourselves, but we know the buzzwords to use to get people to leave us alone. Right. And that's why I'm always an advocate for coaches and therapists and all these things, because you have to do the math in your life. If you keep meeting the same type of person, you got to figure out why A, you're picking them, or why B, or is that type of person always attracted to you?
With that being said, most people don't even look at the reality of it is if you're meeting the same type of person, what's the common denominator? You
there
are.
It is. Yeah.
If you're having the same situation with the same type of person, there is something going on with you that you keep choosing to deal with these type of people. I didn't realize until this year when you did the haunted house.
Everybody talks about that show.
When you did the haunted house, I realized the type of people I grew up in the household with. Those are the type of people I was choosing. I was choosing from my trauma. So I used to say that I am an emotional, unavailable man magnet. Well, why is that? Because I'm used to emotional, unavailable people.
Right.
And to a degree, there's like a comfort in that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that it's unfortunate that a lot of us don't realize this stuff until we're like in our 40s, or we're older and we're like, oh yeah, all of that destruction that happened for the past 15 years, it comes from there. Now I can kind of pinpoint, what I've been doing wrong. It takes us so long to get out of that state of comfort. Like I always tell people, we find comfort in toxicity and trauma because it's all we know.
Yep.
And most of us, whether people like to admit it or not, it's a lot of people out here that are super duper happy for 1,000 years, but most of us bond by trauma. Players bond by trauma. Predators bond by trauma. People with traumatic past, they're looking for a safe place to land. And most of us, because we go through much, your safe place to land come with their own set of traumas. And you're like, oh, it feels amazing. And then you realize maybe we shouldn't have, maybe I need to figure out who I am before I pick again. So I want to make sure that we hit the meat of this topic. So I'm going to kind of recap because I see, there's more people coming in, blah, blah, blah. But I do want to read a question from Erica. Well, not a question, a comment. She says, some folks stay working on themselves when they ain't doing the real work.
That was me.
So when we talk about just putting yourself out there to be met and dating, it's a scary place. However, there's components to dating that we need to kind of have just being a human being. I'm not saying everybody has to date, because I know there's some of you out there that are like, I'm done forever, forget the world, I'm not worried about it, I don't want to meet nobody, I just want to be at home by myself. I get it. I'm not talking about you tonight. I'm talking about the people that say, maybe one day something can happen, but I'm just sitting at home, so nothing happens. Those are people I'm talking about tonight. There's certain parts and aspects of this dating game that you need as life skills, but you don't utilize them. And I have I wrote this down. Dating is a social exercise. How do you socialize with the opposite sex? If you can't do that at home. It's a communication exercise. How do you have the dialogue with the person? How do you communicate over the phone? How do you communicate over text and IM? How do you communicate in person? If you haven't done it in 10 years, you're rusty. And that rustiness could be the thing that turns the other person off. That rustiness could be the thing that blocks your vision to see the red flags coming. I need y'all to catch that. Yeah. Being rusty takes you out of the cycle of seeing the thing so frequently that you don't even realize that those are red flags, because you're almost kind of naive to how this dating game has evolved. And then when you get in, your naivety attracts predators. And when the predators see that, I'm gonna land my plane in a second.
Okay.
It's bait for them. And that's why it's essential for you to, and we'll talk about the how you do it, but it's essential for you to keep those muscles active, even if it's just you going out to a dinner and you know that person is cool. Maybe you end up as friends, but you're working a muscle because you're meeting people. And you never know, you never know who these people could be in your life, and it may not even necessarily be your soulmate. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and I'm passing the mic.
Okay, so what you were saying about your picker and how you got to exercise this muscle. So what I found with me was I got married at 23. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really date before. I didn't have any great dating experience, And so after I was divorced, I didn't know how to date. All I knew how to be was a wife.
Right.
Because that's what I was for 11 years. And so what I find is in our 30s and 40s, especially when you're coming out of these 20-year marriages with your high school sweetheart, we are still dating like we're in high school. And the game has changed.
Yep.
This shit out here is real. In Georgia, we talking about 22 women to one man. And it's all type of game being ran. And I was so like naive when I first got out here, because then I was in church when I got out here.
Mm-hmm.
So, for a period of time I was abstinent and, it was just so much. And it's like, okay, you go out here and then there's trauma that comes with this. You already got trauma from your divorce and all that. Then you out here trying to date these new fools. Mm-hmm. And there's more trauma created and you're like, okay, I'm going to stop, and then you start talking to somebody and it's like a continuing cycle. So we need to learn how to date. I actually went through someone and was a part of her group and everything where she teaches you how to date because so many people have so many different definitions of dating. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I get caught up in dating one person, putting all my eggs in one basket. And when the fucking basket drops and the eggs break, I ain't got no more eggs. So
yeah. That's why I think people need to understand everything we talk about, but I like to champion, going to coaching or someone that can kind of look at your specific kind of profile and tell you and hopefully point you in the direction of how you should date. Because everybody doesn't come with the same stuff. And it's essential that, and I'm trying not to trying to save these kind of solutions for the end. So I'm kind of measure what I'm talking about now, but I'll expound in a minute. It's tough when you have hurt and trauma. It's even tougher, just to recap, when you come out of that hurt and trauma, but you want to be with somebody and that trauma picks for you, and then you add on to it, and then you add on to it again. And then you take yourself off the market because you're like, it ain't nothing but trauma out here. I'm going to just go ahead and be by myself, right? I had a show last week that talked to someone who made that decision too. A lot of people are saying now, I will never do it again. We're not even talking about marriage. We're talking about just being a girlfriend. They like, damn that. I'm not ever doing that again. I'm going to have my fun, or maybe not, but I'm never doing it again. And those type of people, again, I understand it. But if you say those words and at the same time you're sitting at home eating a tub of ice cream talking about, well, I just really wish I was with somebody. The energy's conflicting. And if you want to meet someone, there is no guarantee of success, then you have to be available to be met. If you're not making yourself available to be met, it's a guarantee that it will never happen. So if you are the person that says, I'm done forever, my emotions are on padlock, and no one can get those, I'm keeping those to myself, and I'm going out to brunch with my girls every week, and we just gonna have fun and do whatever. And if a man approaches me, everybody's getting no. Even if he meets my qualifications, everybody gets no, right? When you do that, please don't come back with the energy like, damn, I wonder how that could have been. I wish I was. You gotta pick one.
Yeah.
You gotta pick one. So my next question to you is, you said you've made that decision at some point.
Several times.
Several times. Were you the type to ride the line of both, or were you really convicted in it ain't gonna happen ever again?
I ride the line because I'm a hopeless romantic. And I mean, people can try to walk around here tough, talking about, I ain't gonna be with nobody. I'm just go. Everybody wants love.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody does. We weren't made to be on this planet alone. We need love. If we don't have love, we will die. I mean, shit will die out. I mean, so I actually call myself the fifth element as one of my nicknames. They like, what's the fifth element? Watch the movie. But it's just like you get so burnt out. Like with the last situation I had, I was like, it's a wrap. I'm done. I can't do this. Like, and then you start seeing happy couples posting pictures on Facebook, and you start watching these movies, and you start talking to couples and how you meet and all that, and then you sitting there like, I want that.
You know what? That's a real answer that a lot of people would make if they were honest. And here's the thing, right? And then I'm gonna get to the comments. Like I always say, there's no guarantee of success. Mm-hmm. However, and we also look at other people's relationships, and we want to be with someone. It's a human thing to do. Mm-hmm. But what we don't do is when we see those things, we don't look at ourselves and say, what do I need to do to get that? Mm-hmm. Right? We will go back in our little cubby hole and say, damn that. The energy conflicts. And then when you do have the conflicting energy and you go outside and say, oh, maybe I would try this one time, that energy ain't right.
And
so
meet the wrong
person. Yeah, there's no such thing as perfect, right? Let me read Dope Discussions with Erica says, we have to get comfortable with the fact that once we heal, there's a majority that are not healed. We have to put ourselves in environments where people are on the same wavelength, right?
Correct.
I'm going to talk about that in a minute too, because you and I talked about this offline quite a bit. Dating is not a romantic process. It's logical, and it's a process of elimination. So 2 points I want to make based off of that, right? Logical. If I never, ever, ever had a piece of advice for somebody out there dating, you have to date with your logical brain and not your emotional heart, not your emotional trauma. We cannot, and I said this on a prior show, I can't remember which one it was. You can never delete trauma, but you can learn how to manage it better. And once again, you may need help with that. We can't always solve all of our problems, but once you learn how to manage the trauma, then you can go out here, and I'm gonna make these couple points. But I want to start talking about how we go about rectifying it in a second. The logical part of your brain is where the boundaries live. The logical part of your brain is where the red flag detectors live. If you are dating based on your trauma picking for you, that stuff gets blurred and you can't make an honest decision about what you want when you have a fuzzy sensor that can't detect these things. And then what you'll say is, with your fuzzy red flag detector and your fuzzy logical brain, you'll pick something that's not for you, and then you'll blame it on the market. You'll blame it on men. You'll blame it on society. Mm-hmm. When you're the one with the fuzzy sensor, that's a you. Like I always say on my show, that's a you problem.
Exactly.
If you keep picking with that fuzzy sensor, the next 10 guys, it's not going to be good. You don't even get the benefit of playing the numbers game when you can't see. Mm-hmm. Damn, that's a bar. You can't like people. You just keep dating in the numbers game, and eventually you'll find you'll never see them because you're blocking it.
Right.
So when you know that your picker is off and it's fuzzy, and you done tried to fix yourself and it ain't working, Now you got to look at this. How many more years am I willing to do this without possibly getting somebody to help me figure it out, move a different way, date in a different area? You gotta try to figure out, because if it's you, once you make the determination that it's a you problem, you can't change them. You gotta change what you do. So the other point with Erica, that she was talking about, that being in an environment where people are on the same wavelength, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talked about this before. I might even say this last week, and then I'm gonna ask you a question, because I know this is something that will make you defend it.
Oh Jesus!
I say this a lot, but I think if I keep saying it, maybe it'll hit somebody. Stop dating where you're comfortable geographically, mentally, all of that. Because if you keep dating in the same place, you're probably going to get the same results. Stop doing that, because it will make you so hard that you'll take yourself off the market.
Yep.
And remember, before I ask you this question, if you take yourself off the market, your muscles get weak. So you aren't even. So listen to this. You got weak dating muscles and weak relationship communication, socialization muscles, and your vision is blurry at the same time. How the hell do you think you're going to find this right? It's not going to happen. So I'm going to ask you, it's probably going to be a little personal, but not really. What is it about dating in the same kind of comfort zone, area-wise, meeting people from the same places? What makes a person realize that maybe the right person isn't there, but you still stay there and you don't kind of expand your horizons? Like what makes all of the bad stuff that's happened in the same kind of area space? What makes you keep going back there? Is it because of fear?
I have no clue, because the people I met are from different spaces. Because I got told that a long time ago. Change your social circle. It's like fishing in the same pond and expecting a different fish. It might be one different fish in that pond of 500. So look at your chances of getting that one fish versus one of them 500. So I don't date in the same areas.
That's good.
But some people do it because they're comfortable.
Yeah.
They don't want to go out a certain area. Like I used to live in Conyers, and I got told as long as I lived in that area, I'd be single. And I did try to meet people in that area, and that was not a good pond. So I stopped dating. And so I really was off the market. Then I ended up meeting somebody in a whole different area. Mm-hmm. Different area, kind of sort of same fish though.
Right. The point I wanted to make about this is, when you date in multiple ponds, even if you don't find success, you still lifting weights, because you're meeting different types of people. And when you realize that this pond you fishing in isn't good, that's not the point where you give up. That's the point where you say, I have to alter, right? And as an engineer, this is what I do every day. We troubleshoot the problem. We don't say, you know what, it's not working. We may have to come at it a different angle, may have to come at it 5 different angles, but eventually, and there's no guarantee of success, but you make progress, right? It's really about progress, more than it is about a guarantee of success. Because the more progress you make, the more you get to learn about yourself.
Right.
The more you get to learn about how to develop and manage what your standards are and your deal breakers and all of these things. You can say that you're healing and that you're working on yourself, But how do you apply it if you don't go outside? How do you know it works?
That's the thing. Just like being abstinent. You can be abstinent. You could be so on point when you're abstaining because you're not dating. But let Mr. Chocolate come along and try to flex that muscle then. See if you be strong then. You only strong because you don't have anybody in your space.
You got it. You have to. So I want to talk about how we move forward once a person has made the decision to take themselves off the market. How do you move forward, and what things are needed in order for you to feel safe? I'm gonna let you talk about yourself, or maybe some things you heard in the streets. What's kind of one of the first initial things you feel like you have to do to get yourself out of that rut of saying, I ain't never going back outside no more?
Okay, so you talking about how to move forward and come out of the rut, or how to
come out of, like, you taking. So here's a scenario: you taking yourself off the market.
Okay.
You want to date again, but what do you do to get yourself prepared, like mentally? Like, what do you have to tell yourself? What do you have to do in order for you to say, I feel confident enough to go meet that first guy?
Okay, so what you have to do is look at the past mistakes you've made.
Mm-hmm.
And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. Have a resolve that I'm not going to continue to do this because I see the results I get from doing this. So it's like you say, it's like Erica say, you have to have boundaries. You need to create boundaries, stick to them. You need to have standards, stick to them. You do need a plan of action to be out here in these dating streets, because these streets ain't nice out here. You gonna meet them all. But the thing is, even if you do meet what you used to attract, you don't have to entertain them. Know that that's a person that you shouldn't even have a conversation with. Say hi, keep it moving. You're not my type of dude. I know where this is gonna go. Pay attention to the flags. Where your flag at, there? Where your flag?
Oh, hey, I got the flag right here. Red flag on the flag.
Pay attention to the flags. You know, you have to have a plan and you have to stick to it.
Yeah. This point right here that you're talking about right here, like, I want to take a couple minutes to talk about boundaries and standards, right? It's tough to look back at your history and realize that you was part of the problem. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to admit that, right? And like I said on the last show, or maybe a couple shows ago, we all have a pattern. I don't care who you are. We all have a pattern. And solution-wise, the best way to figure out where you need to cut people off, what your deal breakers are, is you got to look backwards and look at those things that hurt. Look at those things that really made you go to that dark place, right? And I'm going to use some really, like, rudimentary examples. Let's say you went 2 relationships back to back, and those people yelled at you a lot. And now you triggered by people yelling. Now you're starting to establish that if I meet a guy that I feel like he might be that type of person that yells, or he does it one time and he says, I'm sorry. Now you have a thing where you could say, that's not something I want to deal with. Mm-hmm. If you don't have that boundary to be able to shut it off, then it's always going to be scary, because 99% of I won't say 99, a lot of the times you're going to meet someone that's going to hit some of those triggers when you go out here. The key is to recognize the things that are deal breakers, get out of there early so that you can be fresh for the next date that you go on. Instead of leading with your trauma, like you said before, and letting people come in and you be like, oh, he only yelled 3 times, maybe he'll get better. You already know what that feel like.
Yep.
3 times, it's a pattern. That's a part of his character. We not playing, like, you got, like, it's time, like I always tell my daughter, it's time to grow up. Like, you can't think that, and like you said before, some people, that pain is something that they're familiar with. So they keep going along. You got to make a decision that pain don't belong in your life. And when you do that, to Erica's point, logically, these people will come across your path and it'll stink. And you'll be like, nah, I'm good. And they be like, dang, we only talked one time. We only went on one date. Something don't know because you already know what that, like, I'm a reader, make sure that these comments don't scroll because Erica's typing like crazy. She said, we can fish in different ponds, but still use the same bait that catches yeah. So, yeah. There's a thing. Okay, so that's another point that Erica's hitting some great points. She says boundaries are easy until you meet somebody who makes you feel all mushy inside.
That's what I was saying about being absent until you meet Mr. Chocolate.
You gotta be strong.
Gotta hold on.
Temptation comes wrapped in a nice package. But you gotta stay the course. And so she said something that I wanted to touch on. Oh, when she said use the same bait. You never want to compromise who you are. Right? Have you ever compromised yourself or acted a different way because you thought it was gonna catch more?
I dumbed myself down.
What did you do? Name me one thing.
I dumbed myself down.
You dumbed yourself down? Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
And I didn't laugh a lot. I stopped being I stopped being me, and I was miserable. I did that with 2.5, the 2.5 friends with benefits. I couldn't be myself.
Yeah. I just talked about that earlier on Clubhouse, how when you make a decision to change a lot of the core parts of who you are for someone else or to try to attract more people, when you make the decision to stay somewhere with the changed version of you, it's like living in jail. Because you're always going to want to be yourself. And if you stay with that person long enough and y'all end up cohabitating or whatever, outside starts to look real sexy. That's what I always talk about on my show. Outside looks good because it's not about, oh, let me get outside so I can meet people. No, outside you get to be who you are. That's what's so appealing about outside. And people need to realize that when you have people that want to be outside a lot, they want to be away from their partner a lot. They want to go hang out with their boys a lot. It's because when they're with their boys, they don't have to wear a mask. It's not even about the boys. I need people to understand this. Outside looks good because you get to be who you are. So then you have to tell yourself, if I've done this before, now I'm back to who I am. Everybody I meet, they're going to have to accept this or I got to go. Doesn't matter what type of package it comes wrapped in. Doesn't matter how cute it is. Once you get to a point where you can turn down that type of temptation, you have achieved superhero status. Because then the only people that get to cross that first boundary have to be qualified. It doesn't mean it's going to work, but you don't have a bunch of craziness coming through that first thing. Compatibility, subjective. How you communicate, subjective, but you're not going to let something crazy through the door because you think it look cute. Once you can say no to super sexy, oh my God, I want to rip the clothes off. Once you get past that point where you can be like, hold on, sir. I can't. Want to, but I can't. I got things over here to lose. My sanity, my patience, all that. I got to keep that intact. And I think you're going to mess with that. So I'm going to need you to stay right. I need 6 feet.
Right. Don't disturb my zen.
Because that's the decision that I had to make at some point in my life, because all the decisions I was making wasn't leading to me being any happier. And I had to start looking at my life, what I wanted, and people that I felt like, even though I was attracted to them, I had to be like, I can't. Mm-hmm. And women aren't used to dudes saying no, right? They like, hey, you don't what? And I used to be like, hold on, man. You can't come over my house the first night. You can't. I got things to lose. I can't. No. And once I started having that discernment and those boundaries, then it opened up the path in the lane for Alicia to come in, and my dating muscles and everything else, it was worked out. I was ready for her when she was ready for me because I didn't stop meeting people. I just qualified them better.
Right.
I was never gonna stop meeting people. Spirit. Right. So that's the key here. And so for you, it's like you said that you have made that decision to kind of just chop it off. Where are you today? Yeah, the fans want to. Well, I won't say today, but for you personally, what was your personal shift in thinking? Did you get to a shift? Are you still there? Are you riding the fence?
Well, okay, so I can honestly say after my last situation, I was like, okay, I'm done. Maybe I'll try again at 50. That's 3 years. I'm like, I'm just gonna focus on my business. I'm gonna get this money, I'm gonna be in these streets, but I'm not trying again. Then I got to watching Love Jones.
Oh, see? Yeah, this is I really wanted you on here tonight, and I really wanted people to hear kind of your perspective and kind of where your head is, because like I tell most of my guests, when I don't have like these people with these therapist titles and all this, real people, it's not just you. It's a lot of people out here that need to hear it so that they can start to make decisions that are better for their lives. If your decision in your life is, I'm gonna stop forever, I'm not judging you, but you can't have those dual energies out here in these streets and think that somebody's that people aren't gonna. People feel energy. Y'all, when you go outside and you got the RBF face and you in the club and you like, well, I don't know why nobody talking to me. Hold on, man. So everything is, you be in the club talking about why nobody talking to me. And I'm saying club because this is what people do. You be in there with the me mug in the don't talk to me energy and then leave the club and say, I wonder why nobody hollered at me. Stop.
Right. Exactly.
Stop.
Smile. It doesn't hurt to smile.
Yeah.
So let me say this. Mm-hmm. When I said that, I immediately thought, when you come back out here at 50, it's going to be the same thing because you keep shutting down. And like you said, you're not exercising that muscle. Look, Erica even said it. Tashura is still open to love.
I know you are. You are.
So I just spoke from my hurt. But my thing is I'm about to get in these streets.
Yeah.
Because I'm never going to get what I want if I keep hiding and closing myself off. I've been single for 13 years. Mm-hmm. My last relationship where he said we together, we in a relationship, was 2009. Now I did have one in 2013 that was for 2 months, so it don't count. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like real relationship, that was longer than 2 months. Right. It was almost a year. So I had to really have a mirror moment with myself, and like, okay, why are we choosing these type of people? And what is this? And why are you attracted to this feeling? And you don't like feeling that way. And this is how each person keeps making you feel. And you keep choosing these. So like you said, it's not the people in the streets. It's me.
Yep.
Because I'm attracting this.
Yep. And the other point that I always have to make with people, because I feel like it's the easiest thing to understand, but people just really don't get it. You don't get to pick the day and the time when you meet this person. So like, to use your point, if you say, okay, in 3 years, when I turn 50, that's when I'm going to be ready to meet this person. That means for 3 years, you're blocking out potentials that could cross your path with an iron fist because you're waiting for 50 to come. Right. And if you are capable and able, whether you need to get help, whether you can do it yourself, to start erecting your boundaries and your standards within reason and go out here and date, and know when to back away because it don't feel right. Y'all ladies have intuition. Come on, man. You know when to back away so that you maintain your peace. Y'all, we always talk about men wanting peace, women need it too. Maintain your peace and keep dating so that if within that 3 years somebody comes across your path and you like, but I'm ready for him because I know how this goes. I've been out here. I understand what these terms mean and how people are moving out here because I've seen it and I've dated effectively and I'm ready for you now, sir. Mm-hmm. While I'm still trying to make myself better because we're all in a perpetual state of making ourselves better. You're never going to get to perfection. So jump in the pool. It's the same thing I tell people when people are contemplating marriage. We've been together this long, but I got to wait for another 3 years until we get a house. No, you don't. No, you don't. And like I said on another show, maybe a month ago, I said, the person that's meant for you will also be there to sit by you and be your cheerleader when you going to school and trying to get your little whatever you're trying to get.
Yep.
If they're not willing to do that with you while you're married, that ain't the one.
Yep.
Because it's always going to be something you want. Let's say you get married and now you starting a business and you want to try to build that thing up to a certain point. You're going to wait until what? Like there's never a perfect time for that. There's never a perfect time where you say, like when people say they want to wait until a certain time to start dating again, it'll never be 6 months. It'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna wait a couple years and then I'm like, years? What?
Yes, always years. Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we're not talking about a girlfriend. You talking about just going out on a date to meet someone. Years? How single do you really want to be?
Single.
That's not how this energy, magical, mystical thing. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes it happens by happenstance. I met my wife by happenstance. I wasn't looking for her. But if I wasn't open to the possibility, then we would have never went past that first point because I had this nobody's going to get through. I wasn't looking for her, but what I was doing was I was making sure, like I'm gonna repeat, I was making sure I didn't let nobody pass that first barrier that didn't qualify. If I felt like you might be a little bit toxic, but you fine, you're still getting the door. I cannot do it. And once I start doing that, you're gonna spend some time by yourself. Yeah, you're gonna have to watch a bunch of movies and be by yourself and go hang out and do. But your peace of mind is intact. Mm-hmm. Because when you out here with a crazy toxic, your mindset, you can't focus. How are you gonna show up when you meet that person? It doesn't work. Erica says, I noticed that when I was dating with suspicion, I met jokers. When I started dating out of optimism and no romantic expectations, I began meeting quality guys.
Yeah, that
I'm gonna read
expectation word.
it again for the people in the back. I'm gonna read it again for the people in the back. If you're not following Dope Discussions with Erica, subscribe to her on YouTube. Do what you got to do. That's our girl. I always call her the boundary queen. She knows how to check them at the door. Yeah, coach. She does everything. She's everything. She said, I noticed when I was dating, I'm gonna read again because somebody needs to hear this. When I was dating with suspicion, I met jokers. When I started dating out of optimism and no romantic expectations, I began meeting quality guys.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that energy.
And the same thing I say when I tell people, if you keep looking for red flags so hard, that's all you're gonna find.
Yep.
Because if there's 500 green and 1 red, you still gonna roll. So,
I did watch a show about that. About sometimes we make
real.
It's
a real thing. It's people out here looking for that one little thing that could probably be worked on, and they're like, "Nah, I can't do none of it now." And I'm like, "Okay, you just threw your husband in the trash. You better stop playing." I've had to coach several women on this that crossed that barrier and worked on that red flag, and then they ended up in super, like they're still married and all. They did it because I was like, "You leaving for that?
Right?
What? We got to stop doing that."
Mm-hmm. Hey, Tony Massey.
Tony Massey, what's up, sir? So we gonna start. Oh yeah, we gonna dang. The last time I looked up at the clock, it was 8:30. Um, time flies.
You've been on one. Triggered.
Yeah, yeah, we could. Tony
He
Massey
said
said pink flags. Yeah,
I got purple flags, Tony.
So yeah, slightly red. Yeah. Because a red flag should be it should be like a deal breaker, right?
Oh yeah, straight out the door.
And a lot of times these people be thinking it's red and it's not, and they because of whatever the trauma or hurt that they've been through, they just, I'm good.
But no. You know what we do to red flags? I'm gonna tell you what we do to red flags. Women ain't gonna admit to this. We be like, oh well, maybe we'll give them another chance. Nah, son, done. First red flag, done, son.
People will have deal breakers, ignore the deal breakers, but they're a deal breaker for a reason. That's why I say your logical mind, your intuition, your logical mind, the things that you have set in place to protect you, not encapsulate you to the point where nobody can get through, but as a protective measure. It's almost like a karate chop. Like when you see the fist coming, you could be like, oh, nope. But it's still open just in case you want to get a hug. Dang, I just made that up. Damn, I'm good. And that's real. You can block punches, but when a hug comes, you still open. You don't have like a wall that they can't even get through. Because I love my hugs. Alicia will tell you, I like hugging. I be hugging the life out of her every day.
Oh, that's so
sweet. I do. Like her back be cracking sometimes. I be squeezing so hard, and she'd be like, "Oh, thank you. I needed that."
Yeah.
Anyway, Erica says breaking our own deal breakers. Yeah, people do it every day, but it is one of the main things that you need in order for you to not have to go through this and start talking about, oh, there ain't nobody out here. Oh, I quit. Everybody I met. That's why I get so triggered when people say everybody I met, and I'm like, where you meeting them? Oh, I'm going to these bars downtown. That's the only place? Oh, okay. I see why now. Go ahead.
You said everybody I met. We don't have to entertain everybody we meet. That's like going to a buffet. You don't have to put everything on your damn plate. And even if somebody else puts it on your plate, you don't have to eat it. So we don't have to accept, because we're going to attract them. We don't have to accept everything that we attract. It's not about what we attract. It's about what we entertain. And if you keep choosing to entertain clowns and court jesters and dust mites, dust mites. We know what the dust mites are.
But think about what you just said, right? It sounds like a circus, right? And then the top of the circus is a bunch of red flags at the top of it.
Exactly. I put on Facebook one day, I said, do I have ringleader on my forehead? Because I keep meeting clowns. Like, what's going on? But I cut them clowns off and didn't entertain them.
Because
they came with the red nose and big shoes. Sometimes you can't see the red nose and big shoes. They slip in there. Yes, Tony Massey, dust mites. Dusty dudes, dust mites. Yes.
Tony Massey says some red flags are the blood-soaked bandages from previous trauma.
Ooh, I knew he was gonna get deep.
Yeah. Tony Massey is he's our poet laureate. So we're gonna start to wrap this up. Tashura is a friend of the show. You're gonna see her on Instagram a lot too, because we
goes in on Instagram, 4-hour shows.
We had to do the crazy dating stories part 2 again over there. So we're gonna start wrapping this up. I want you to, if there's any parting words, and then tell people where they can find you, and then we'll wrap it up.
Parting words: don't give up. Just choose better. So if you want to see me and my foolishness, you can catch me over at Tashura Talks, TSHURATALKS. That is on all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'm here clowning around, but talking about some serious stuff too.
That's right. Yeah, we have to have fun with this too, because sometimes you reach more people that way. And we need to laugh about ourselves sometimes because we do some funny stuff.
Yeah. I laugh at all 5 of my personalities all the time. We have one big old party up in here.
So yeah, make sure you follow Tashura Talks everywhere. Like I said, when I go on Instagram Live, she be up there most of the time anyway. So she like the second host on there. And we have fun over there. So make sure you go to relationshipgumbo.info and check me out. Follow me everywhere because I be bouncing around. You got to get those notifications so that you can get this information. Also, I am also a co-host, 5 gentlemen, on the show that we do every Monday called Real Shop Talk. If you go to realshoptalk.net, we have all of our Instagram information there and all the shows that we've done. You can go back, look historically. I think we're at like 7 now, I believe. We're doing some amazing things over there. Man talk, manhood, man thought process. We're about to start having guests on our show. Dope discussions with Erica is going to come on our show. And this weekend on Sunday, we're going to be on her show, all of us. So make sure you follow Erica. I think her IG is Dope Discussions _pod. So replay this and replay that back so you can follow her and get her information. Amazing podcast. Amazing people. Everybody on here. Y'all all amazing. I'm glad you came. I appreciate you all. And we're going to wrap this up next week. Same time, same place. Another amazing topic. I'm not sure if I'm doing a guest or not, but you know my solo shows be fire anyway, because I try to make sure that y'all get this information and digest it. So, yeah, this was good. It's not like I'll probably go live tomorrow. So on IG, so I'll probably see Tashura then. Yeah, we have fun. Just come have fun with us. Yeah, relationshipgumbo.info, Tashura Talks, and we out of here. Hopefully you guys will have a great rest of your week. Be safe, and like I always say at the end of the show, make sure you take care of the old ones, the young ones, and everybody in between. Take care of each other. Meet some new people this weekend, damn it. Like, we got to get back to that. Yeah, we got to meet some new people. I ain't even talking about dating. Just say hi to somebody. Say good morning. Do something.
Always.
Like, come on. Like, we got to do this. I'm sick of it. So, yeah, y'all have a good time. And on that note, I'm going to wrap it up.
We out.
We out.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship gumbo.